welcome to the Wrestling Page, and in today's video we have got a new start, a new beginning, a new adventure. We're just on the end, right off the tail end of WrestleMania, and we're going forward now with a start fresh, new beginning with WWE. We've got new superstars coming up, we've got new superstars returning, we've got people going to different brands, we've got new champions. This is the 2019 Superstar ShakeUp, in quotes, WWE Draft.
So here we are with our top picks for the week. Who do I think is going to go across from Raw to SmackDown, etc. So we're going to do our draft picks on who we think is...
6 each.
Yeah, 6 each, mixed, girls and guys. Who do we think is going to go across to...
everything.
Exactly, etc. Who do we think is going to go across to Raw, SmackDown, come from NXT, etc. Who do you think? Let us know. My top 6, number 6, starting off, bearing in mind this is not in order. My number 6, I have to say, Braun Strowman, purely because of the fact that Lars Sullivan has made his Raw debut and his SmackDown debut, actually. Hopefully Lars will stay on Raw and he will dominate there, and then you'll have Braun on SmackDown dominating that scene, and then hopefully get a championship reign, actually get used properly this time instead of kind of getting dropped on Raw like he did. He should have been Universal Champion, but sadly that never happened, so hopefully that will actually happen this time.
And Braun Strowman's already an established superstar, so he doesn't need any more time to people to know who he is.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to see Braun go across to SmackDown and kind of get the treatment that he did when he first started, which was enhancement talent. I'd like to see that happen again on SmackDown to try and build him up a little bit, and then eventually get him a bit of a championship reign, even if it's Intercontinental, United States. Who knows? That as well. I'd quite like to see. I'd like to see Braun Strowman actually get a proper run this time.
Okay, my number 6 pick for the draft, or the Superstar ShakeUp, for that is Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush. I think they should be going to SmackDown. Bobby Lashley is such a dominating character, and Lio Rush is an amazing hype man, manager. He's a really good athlete as well, so they need more camera time, they need more chance to actually show who they are, because they're getting lost in the pack on Raw. So I think they need to be shipped straight to SmackDown, give him a little bit more camera time, give him a couple more title runs, even if it is a tag title or a US or Intercontinental title run. I'm going towards the WWE Championship in the future, but I think he's got more chances of moving forward if he actually goes to SmackDown, because I actually, a little bit in me that does actually like Bobby Lashley, but the percentage of me that doesn't like him just now is due to because of how he's getting lost in the back on Raw. So yeah, throw him to SmackDown. 5 on the pack. Who do I think should go across from Raw to SmackDown? I'm going to go with the girl here, so I'm going to say Alexa Bliss. There's not really anyone on the roster, maybe Ember Moon, but I'm going to go with Alexa Bliss because I'm a big fan of Alexa Bliss. She had a dominant run on SmackDown, so hopefully she'll go back to SmackDown and win the title again, bearing in mind what happens with Becky Lynch, who knows. But I'd like to see Alexa Bliss go across to SmackDown because she's definitely by far my favourite person on the roster. Number 5 pick for the draft is going to be Daniel Bryan on Raw. I think they've repackaged Daniel Bryan well. I think they've took away the injury side of it, career-threatening injury. He's a really dominant heel. I think he'd thrive a little bit more if he was on Raw. I think if they gave him, they could package him up a bit more and throw him onto Raw with a new entrance theme song. And just give him that little bit more of a chance to be a little bit more dominating. I think he'd be well on Raw. Because on SmackDown there's history with him. Being general manager, just been on SmackDown for a very long time. So yeah, let's get Daniel Bryan on to Raw. Fresh new start, fresh new Daniel Bryan and heel turn. Let's keep it going. Definitely, yeah.
For number 4, who do I think? I'm going to have to go out in a little bit of a boat here. I'm going to say...
Out in a little bit of a boat.
I'm going to say Akam and Mazar, AOP. I want to see them go across to SmackDown. We've not seen them on Raw for quite some time now. I don't know actually how long it's been. The last time...
One of them were injured, was it?
I know that obviously there was Manchester last year when we were there. They won the Tag Team Championships on Raw, which was pretty exciting, and that title run didn't really last that long, so I'd like to see them go across to SmackDown. They do fit in really well with Raw, but it's such a shame that they're not being used. I don't know if it's because they're injured or Vince McMahon being Vince McMahon, not using the talent correctly, but I'd like to see them go across to SmackDown and get used correctly, because they are actually a really, really good team.
My number 4 out of everything, the prediction is Pete Dunne. Going to throw him to Raw also as well. He is obviously one of the NXT UK's biggest superstars right now, but I think he's grown out of that. I think he's actually at a point now in his career where he's becoming such a massive superstar that he needs to be on a bigger platform. I think he's actually he's proved who he is, and they wouldn't just drop the title for no reason at WrestleMania also as well, or WrestleMania weekend. I would throw him onto Raw, see what they can do with him, start him off at the bottom of the pack again though. Start him going off against different people to see how much of a good superstar he is. People moving forward, like whoever's going to be on there, Lars Sullivan or Ricochet or Finn Balor or whoever it is on Raw, get him going against some superstars, get some really good matches under his belt and see what can happen with him in the next couple of years. So definitely Pete Dunne to Raw.
Yeah, definitely by far. Obviously he's just lost the title, so chances are it's hopeful that he'll actually go somewhere. Big fan of Pete Dunne. I'm going to have to go with number 3. I'm going to have to say Adam Cole from NXT across to SmackDown. I'm going to have to say SmackDown because he would fit in Raw, don't get me wrong, but I just think that he would be perfect for SmackDown, sorry. I think it'd be a perfect fit. Starting off on the mid card and then eventually making his way up to earning a spot at the top of the table, which would be quite cool. Adam Cole is definitely by far one of the best on NXT right now. I'd like to see go somewhere.
Number 3 is Kairi Sane to SmackDown. The reason why I'm saying Kairi Sane and the reason why I'm saying SmackDown is because she's such an amazing superstar, and SmackDown need that little bit of different something. They've got Asuka and Naomi and Carmella, but they need someone that can kick some ass, but also someone that's so different at the same time. She's a bit of a hype. She's a massive hype. She'll hype the crowd for SmackDown. She's a good addition. I think she'll be a good women's champion at some point in the future. So yeah, Kairi Sane from NXT straight through to SmackDown Live. That would be great to see.
And number 2, I'd like to see Andrade Cien go across to Raw. Big fan of Andrade. Wasn't really that much of a fan of him when he first came up. I thought he was pretty building.
He's not called Andrade anymore.
But when he first came across to the main roster, I was like, man, I seen him in NXT in 2017, June 2017 in Aberdeen, Scotland. I seen him there against I can't remember who it was.
Drew McIntyre?
No, it wasn't. It was Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley.
Oh.
But I seen him at that point, and I wasn't really much of a fan. He came up to the main roster, went to SmackDown. I was like, meh, not really too much of a fan. But he's kind of grown on me recently, so I'd like to see him actually go somewhere because he is actually genuinely a really good wrestler. He's got the perfect look to be a champion. I think he would make a good W champion. If he was to get that chance on SmackDown, I'd say keep him on SmackDown. But because of the way that it's been lately, I'd like to see him go to Raw and maybe, I don't know, get the Intercontinental United States whoever title is on at that point.
Number 2, a bit different. It's out there. But because of the change in shape and size of WWE just now, I think the thing about NXT is that they're trying to change that from being called a developmental stage of wrestling to, I would say it's the indie scene of the WWE. So what I'm going to be choosing for my number 2 is Tyler Breeze straight to NXT. The reason for that is because he's been doing a lot of independent work with NXT on their tours. He's great, he looks great on NXT. He is lost in the pack in WWE, and I'm surprised that he's not been released because of that. And also I've been hearing a lot of rumours that he has been tweeting out to Joey Gargano, saying stuff about the NXT title. So yeah, I would love to see Tyler Breeze reform himself, put him to NXT. It's not a step down. I think it's the indie scene of WWE, and he fits there. Even though he's been there before, it's not a step down. It is a great scene. It's completely different from Raw and SmackDown. Put him straight to NXT, and let's see if we can get some a new character out of himself and more hype.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think you can look at it in 2 different perspectives. You can look at it as either it's a step down, but I personally think it's a step down, but it's also a step up. Because NXT's...
I would never see it's a step down.
I don't think it's not a step down. It's just the way I look at it is because the fact that it is a step down because it's classified as the 3rd brand. So people would look at it as a step down, but it's a step down, but it's also a step up because NXT is the developmental where you start and then you go to Raw SmackDown once you've reached your
That's what it used to be.
highest prestige.
They need
But
to get rid of that.
I do think that it's a step down, but it's not a step down in terms of that he's bad. It's a step down because he's actually going to go and then go back up again. For my number one, going to go with the last one, is somebody I'm a really big fan of right now is Mandy Rose. Absolutely love to see her go across the Raw. Big fan of her. I've loved her on SmackDown. I do think that she should be champion. Again, the same as I said, Alexa Bliss earlier, with her being champion right now, as in Becky Lynch, it's a little bit difficult at the moment. So I'd quite like to see. Obviously, Becky Lynch is currently feuding with Lacey Turner. So I'd quite like to see Lacey Evans. Sorry, not Lacey Turner. Lacey Evans. I'd like to see Mandy Rose get a chance, maybe at the title eventually at some point. I do want to see Becky Lynch stay on Raw, but I want to see Mandy Rose get an opportunity down the line.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. My number one is one that Nathan's already said, that is Adam Cole. Adam Cole to Raw. The reason why I'm saying Raw as well is because I'm trying to think ahead, which we know they're going to go to Raw anyway. So that's already 4 superstars that are not on Raw, that should be on Raw, that would be a great addition to pay-per-views moving forward in the next few years, like Money in the Bank. I'm sorry, but that is a good thought, and that's an exciting thought. So definitely, Adam Cole on his own, away from Undisputed Era, straight away, all the way to Raw. Yeah. Adam Cole, baby!
Bearing in mind with what you just said there, you just said it's obvious that Aleister Black and Ricochet. That brings us to another point of who we think is the obvious mentions of who's going to go across to Raw, SmackDown, come up from NXT.
There was no point in putting any of these people in our top 6 because we know it's going to happen. Either way,
NXT is a little bit of a difficult one because there's not many people on there that we've rumoured. There's people we think, Adam Cole would come up to the main roster, but there's not really people on the main roster that's NXT, that's being rumoured. As where you've got NXT, first one I'm going to have to say there is the Usos. That's highly rumoured that they've been going across to Raw.
And they've just dropped their titles.
And because they've just dropped the titles, I'd quite like to see them go across to Raw and actually just be...
Oh, without a doubt. When was the last time they were on Raw? Maybe show the clip, I don't know.
4 years ago, maybe, I don't know. But I'd like to see them on Raw again.
Also one as well that I'm glad that none of us put into our top 6 because we didn't know which one we were choosing. We didn't confer on that. One thing I'm glad that we didn't choose is AJ Styles. It's highly rumoured as well for AJ Styles to be going to Raw. Not just highly rumoured, but it's highly thought by everybody. I'm sorry, but he is... When you think of SmackDown, who do you think of modern day SmackDown? You think of AJ Styles, maybe Alexa Bliss, Daniel Bryan. That's why they need to switch things up and get AJ Styles straight to Raw. I'd like to
see AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Samoa Joe are your main guys to go across to Raw, and then Braun Strowman, Finn Bálor, and Drew McIntyre for me to go across to SmackDown.
Yeah. I think it's either going to be one or the other for these 2 superstars that I'm going to say. So Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton. I don't think they're going to ship both of them to Raw. It's going to be one or the other. Because they're such high-profile superstars, I think they're not going to put both of them on there. Yeah. I think they're going to have one or the other. I think it's going to be Randy Orton, actually. Or Rey Mysterio's a SmackDown superstar.
With Raw just passed, obviously we've seen Cesaro and Sheamus on Raw. At the end of Raw, they made their comeback, whatever you want to call it, and then on SmackDown, Drew McIntyre came across, and also Lars Sullivan as well, which is pretty exciting. So I'd like to see. I would one big thing.
What we saw on Raw and SmackDown though is not any sort of prediction towards what's going to happen. I think they're just throwing because it's the Superstar ShakeUp. They're not going to create any more storylines until the ShakeUp. They're trying to confuse everybody by just throwing everyone everywhere, which is an amazing thing.
But then what I'd also like to see is what we've seen last time, which is I'd like to see the Intercontinental Championship and the United States switch brands again. So I'd like to see Joe go across to Raw, and I'd like to see Bálor go across to SmackDown. Bálor would be a great fit to SmackDown, considering he's Atar at the moment and is currently blue, so he would fit perfect to something.
That was my next mention anyway, yeah. So, highly rumoured as well. Finn Bálor, straight away, switching with AJ Styles. They're 2 high-profile superstars that could trade places and add a little bit of something to each brand. So Finn Bálor to SmackDown.
Basically, to sum up, the ones that are highly rumoured is obviously Finn Bálor, AJ Styles, and the Usos. They're the only ones that are really highly rumoured, as far as I'm aware, to go across brands.
And then mentions of ones that are kind of obvious, I think, as well. which is Finn Balor, AJ Styles definitely.
Yeah.
If we can throw Becky Lynch's name in there as well, because she's got both titles, expect to see her on both brands.
And also you got Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. They're currently obviously inter-brand champions because they're tag team champions, which is for one brand and one brand only. So that means they go across both brands.
So yeah, I wouldn't put them to one brand. They're not going to be designated to one brand. If we could just go through another section as well, we're going to have this topic on Superstar Shake-Up thoughts. So I'll start it off just now. We're going to have a few people that are going to return moving forward just now, so such as Jason Jordan, Bray Wyatt, Kevin Owens has just returned, Sami Zayn has just returned, there's the Author of Pain are still out. There's so many superstars that are due to return
there's also
from injury, etc, etc.
There's people
the
that
clones.
There's people that's just been put out on the shelf at the moment, which is Nia Jax and Big E.
Big E, yeah.
So Big E is expected to be out for 3 months, which is not too long. He's also, and then Leo Rush is meant to be joining the New Day for the time being. Nia Jax is expected to be out for 9 months, which is a shame. The thing actually I loved about that was the fact that her being injured is not a nice thing, but seen on Facebook, on the WWE page that they posted saying that Nia Jax was injured, she went for 9 months, etc. Most of the comments you would expect it to be who cares because she's botchamania, whatever you want to call it. But all the comments were saying support. Basically, everyone was saying that they're not much of a fan of Nia Jax, but all the best in her recovery. And that's a lovely thing.
No one would wish the worst for anyone, would they? Also, as well, just Superstar Shake-Up thoughts. Luke Harper, or known as Harper now.
No, actually, Luke Harper.
He is due to return.
Luke Harper, he has returned, and he's been at house shows lately. But there was a picture I seen on social media. He was at a house show, a Raw or SmackDown house show. I'm not sure what it was, but on the apron it said Luke Harper. So they've either given me his name on the website. It still says Harper, but on the apron at a house show it said Luke Harper. So does that mean he's getting his name back? Is he going to be with Bray? Is he going to be with Rowan? Bray Wyatt, I'm looking forward to that. I'm not too sure with the whole cryptic, whatever I call it, on Raw, that box with the puppet. I'm not sure what that's going to be, but
yeah,
I'm excited to see what's going to happen with that though.
Next, moving on. This is a thought. This is why we're in this section of Superstar Shake-Up thoughts. I don't have a decision that what I'm about to say because I really don't know. So Sasha Banks and Bayley. There's two sides to this story where you've got so many good tag teams that are in the women's tag team division right now, such as Sasha and Bayley. But also as well, individually, they are amazing superstars. Now, with the rumours going about Sasha Banks wanting to leave, and then also as well with Bayley being such an amazing superstar, could we see one on Raw and one on SmackDown, splitting them up completely? Or would we see them shipped to SmackDown as a tag team? I really don't know, and I can't judge that. That's why I've not put it in my prediction top 6, and it's in the Superstars thoughts. So let's see what your opinions are on that.
I'd quite like to see, another thing we're going to mention is Paige. Will she ever return into action? Who knows? I'd quite like to see
Have you seen SmackDown just passed?
I'd like to see Paige stay on SmackDown.
She was on SmackDown, then the commentator said that she's going to be bringing someone to SmackDown next week, and she's after WrestleMania she's still on SmackDown television, which doesn't make any sense because she's not anything to do with it just now, and because she said that she's technically retired, I don't really see why they would need her back on TV.
No,
so
I'd quite like to see
is
her.
it a secret return back to wrestling? I would love to see that.
Another person I'd like to mention is Rusev. Obviously that's completely back on topic.
That was at the back of my head, yeah.
But Rusev's a popular character. I'd like to see Rusev, maybe, and Lana both go across to Raw. That would be quite cool to see something like that.
Do you know what, one thing we've not mentioned at all is 205 Live. It's hard to judge with 205 Live because it doesn't get the recognition that it needs.
Buddy Murphy, he's one person that could maybe come up to the main roster. He would fit in. It's hard to say. I think he'd fit in well with SmackDown, maybe. I
think this is a random Superstar Shake-Up. Maybe a brand Shake-Up, right? Just my thought process would be put 205 Live on the touring seasons with NXT because it's a smaller arena. That'll give more fans more time. Record at the same time as NXT. That'll go on the WWE Network. That puts SmackDown to 3 hours. That gives SmackDown more of a chance and 205 Live more of a chance to actually have more of a following
Yeah.
with smaller
No,
arenas.
what I'd actually like to see.
Because our experience, going to SmackDown and then having to watch 205 Live afterwards, everyone leaves when you're in the arena when it begins. So that's a shame. They don't deserve
what
that.
I'd quite like to see, it probably wouldn't happen, but I'd quite like to see, obviously, go back to the way that 205 Live was last year, where they had occasional matches on Raw. I'd quite like to see that again. But then I'd also like to see occasional UK matches on SmackDown. So I'd have, like, obviously Pete Dunne versus Waller, for example, or have the Coffee Brothers versus so and so on SmackDown. Because obviously we had 205 last year, and then SmackDown was just left kind of on its own. So I'd quite like to see that again. Maybe have NXT, maybe NXT as well. Maybe have the guys continue staying on NXT, but then also maybe once every week or once a month have Adam Cole versus blah 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 at a pay-per-view. Who knows?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. But if 205 Live are going to be successful, it needs to go touring with the NXT without a doubt. They need to use the same arenas, share the same locker rooms, have their own touring season, have 205 Live and NXT as the separate brands on their own, and Raw and SmackDown as their own separate brands. That would work so much better, and it would give SmackDown more recognition. It would give more superstars more time, more character building, more great matches. I think all around it would help every single person in the WWE.
It's currently Monday as you're watching this. So at the end of the week, we will be going to see what we're going to see.
NXT UK TV recordings in Glasgow.
NXT UK recording in Glasgow.
Braehead Arena.
We are really excited, but we're a little disappointed with the fact that Pete Dunne's just lost his UK title a week prior to us going. So we're both going. We're going to both shows. So it's 2 days across to NXT UK in the Braehead Arena. So we're looking. Really forward to that. So we're looking pretty forward to seeing that.
I'm excited as well. The Braehead Arena was the very, very, very first show I went to at a real WWE live event in 2010. That was a SmackDown live event with Rey Mysterio, the Bella Twins, Kelly, Edge, CM Punk, Luke Gallows. And I'm going back there for the very first time to this arena since 2010. So it's
pretty exciting because we've seen NXT guys before, NXT UK guys. We've seen them before. So obviously we've seen Joe Coffey.
Through ICW.
Yeah, we've seen what's his name again? Not Tyler Bate. Trent Seven. We've seen him as well. We've seen him at ICW. We've seen Pete Dunne. Manchester 2017. That was pretty exciting, but also we're going to see it in a different light this time. They've got more.
It's its own show, definitely. Yeah.
It's its own show. They've got more free will to do what they need. They've got more action time to kind of like show us dominant matches that they've also seen.
We all wanted it for so long. We all wanted our own UK WWE brand, and now that we have it, it's going to be exciting to see.
They've absolutely killed it now that they've shown us.
Toni Storm as well. She is the NXT UK Women's Champion. I've got a Toni Storm t-shirt. I'm going to take it with me.
So I'm hoping that we're actually going to get to see Pete Dunne
take a title with us. Definitely. See if we meet him. If we get the chance to meet him, he's going to be signing that title. Definitely.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to that. Let us know in the comments if you are going to the NXT UK this Friday coming. Let us know in the comments. If not, let us know if you're coming Friday. If you happen to see us, give us a shout out.
WWE predictions. WWE Superstar ShakeUp this Monday coming, this Tuesday coming, then this Friday coming, NXT UK TV recordings, which will be there, we'll be vlogging, we'll be videoing, we'll give you a little bit of insight to it all, we'll let you know what's happening very much, because that would just ruin it for anyone that's actually wanting to watch it. But
do let us know in the comments who you think your top 5 is of going to Raw, SmackDown, coming from NXT, etc. Let us know who you think.
I just realised we didn't mention Drew McIntyre once.
Oh yeah, he did go through my head.
Because he needs to stay on Raw. He needs to stay on Raw.
He went through my head at one point, but I thought you would mention him, so that's why I never mentioned him.
No, I wanted him to stay on Raw.
Also, Elias as well. I was going to mention him as well. But Drew McIntyre, yeah, but he went on SmackDown, and I was like, I don't know.
I didn't like it.
With him being Scottish, obviously the blue brand would be perfect for him, but. Who knows? I'd like to see him go to SmackDown and maybe try and see where that leads him, because you never know, that could end up giving him a better push.
If he went to SmackDown, he would have to be face. He's better on Raw as heel.
Yeah, he's dominant, but I'd like to see that anyway.
Let us know your thoughts and your predictions in the comments. Let me see what you think, and let's see how Superstar.
What is your top 5? What's your top 6? What's your top 10?
Let's see how it shapes WWE moving forward. This is an opportunity for us all to see what we can bring to WWE and what they can bring to our futures of watching it as fans.
Let us know.